Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to Alvaro there on the West Coast. This is Andre Taylor. Welcome to our ultra luxury mastermind call. I hope everyone is doing well, and it's really great to reconvene. Sometimes when we have these breaks, so nice to come back to the call to talk about these ideas. Today, we're talking about luxury, advanced marketing, and wealth building. And that's what this call is about. And we're sharing ideas, hearing how you've applied them, and reinforcing life lessons in study so that you can excel, so that you can prosper, and so that you can move into new levels of productivity and prosperity, and of course, wealth building. It's been a eventful period the last few months whereby we are seeing this shift in the marketplace, this shift where many folks are coming back to work, coming back to their industries, coming back to their focus. Markets are opening. In fact, in New York, they're talking about how we will be opening, I think, fully by the end of May. So it's been a long haul, and I hope that during this time, you've been able to think about your own business, your own future, and how you're going to take advantage of this vast opportunity that exists. As I've written in the Art of Grand Marketing letter, most economists are looking at this period and saying, this is going to be one of the best, most productive, most financially um, opportune times that we've had. So if you are well positioned, and most important, if you're in the right mindset, this is a great time for you to capitalize on that. And I know that everyone has had their share of challenges. If you have dealt with loss or death in your family or someone close to you, my condolences, of course. And I know that that is not easy. Uh, Someone I know very recently who I had communicated with just in a few weeks ago, I learned had passed last week, which was shocking to me. He and I had been on a number of entrepreneurship panels, and we often would talk about business development in New York City. So it's a trying time. It has been a trying time. At the same time, there is and continues to be great opportunity to use your talents and your enterprise to craft a new direction, a new life, and a new story for yourself. So I hope that you will continue to work at that. It is a great thing to do. There's lots of money out there. If you saw the Art of Grand, oh, well, you might not have seen. Oh no, the April Art of Grand. I talk about the wealth in the marketplace globally. If you haven't looked at that, look at that. If you looked at it briefly, go back to it because you have to feed your mind constantly the ideas that there's great opportunity out there. And every month I give you lots of detail and lots of evidence and lots of solutions to your marketing challenges. All right, so having said that, let's get started and talk about a few things before we open the call. Of course, I like to start the call reminding you that this is about your business health. A weekly examination of that, looking at your marketing and creativity, making sure that it is results based, looking at your discipline and action, because I like to say that those folks who really succeed do so on the basis of their discipline and their behavior. That's the big difference between someone who is performing at a very high level and making lots of money and doing well and a person who is not. We've got the same amount of time in the day. We've got the same access often to resources in terms of information. We often live in a city with equal opportunity. Certain things are equal. The difference is the way that person thinks and the way that person behaves. And the goal here is to get you to adopt those thought patterns and those behaviors of those who are at the ultimate level in your category and beyond. And it's exciting to talk about this because I can see when I talk to someone and I see what they're doing and how they're doing it, what they might have to do to make those changes to get there. The challenge is getting someone to actually do it. That's the challenge. Now, when you do that, you're going to start to see productivity. You're going to start to see profitability. You're going to start to see revenue. And in the early days of making this shift, sometimes it's going to look like it's not coming, or it's slowly coming, or it's hard to come by. But don't be deceived by that. Don't be deceived by the difficulty or the challenges. You are making a shift that you didn't even know perhaps you were making. And you're taking these lifelong attitudes, behaviors, perceptions, and ideas and replacing them. And sometimes we're using an old mind to evaluate new activities and ideas. So we have to continue to work at that to completely step into new shoes. So that's what this call is about, helping you do that. So the question always is, what have I accomplished in the last week? If it's a lot, great. If it isn't so much, well, you know that, and now you can improve that. What do you want to accomplish in the coming week? I hope you've got your list. I hope you've got your ideas organized. What's the best way to get there? Whom should I be engaged with? How will I maximize each day? I am constantly defining my day, reshaping my day, because my days are pretty busy. Even though I'm dealing primarily with the same subject matter every day, I'm doing it with multiple groups. I'm doing it through blog posts, audios, videos, courses, writing, coaching. I'm doing it many different ways. And in order to accomplish that, I've got to really be productive to maximize my day. So that's the other piece of this, is making sure you're productive. Now, last time there was a statement that I presented, and I want to start this call by coming back to that. Uh, I presented a challenge, and that was get big results with Taylor Insight style thinking. And to revisit that idea, it's become a conscious creator of your own thinking and circumstances. Never follow the pack. Indulge in study, imagination, and implementation of money making and wealth building ideas. Consume them, review them, practice them, try them until they become completely natural to you. You will soon develop an unconventional way of thinking and working that gets comparable results. I cannot say this enough, because what we're talking about here is a, a very different way of looking at the world. And it's why I wanted to start this call with this once again. Sometimes I'll come to an idea, a statement, or phrase that encapsulates the mindset you must have. But it is more than mindset. It is like dialing into a radio station where the entire atmosphere changes when you hear a particular song. Have you ever had that experience? You're walking down the street, you're driving in the car, you're at home, and song comes on the radio, or you hear a song across the street in someone's car, in someone's backyard, and it transports you to a different time or a different feeling. And sometimes it's a feeling that seems like it's only achievable through that music, which is why music is so powerful. And actually, John will appreciate this, because John talks about one of his pastimes is dancing. And enjoying music and dancing. And I can just imagine the combination of looking good, being well styled, well dressed, being in shape, and dancing. That must really be a great charge to you, John, in that process. So uh, I want you to think about this idea in this way, because most people are walking around with ideas that you don't want. And I cannot reinforce that enough on television, on radio, in the programming that you see, in the subtleties that you see in the way people are speaking about things. I'm trying to consciously teach you to reject something that is out of line. Sometimes as an African American man, I often hear this. I often hear them talking about people of color, African Americans, and poor people. They'll lump those ideas together. Black and brown people and poor people. And the minute I hear that, that television goes off. That station goes off, because I don't want to be synonymous with that. But somehow in our society, we have allowed that. So this is about turning on a different station and letting new ideas and new music flow through you. Now, today, I want to go into a moment here about what this challenge is all about. And I want to emphasize here that you and your clients have the same challenge. Do you know that? You have the same challenge. Understanding it better will make you more successful, and it will improve your clients, and it will improve yourself. And it will help you understand how this challenge manifests in your clients and in you. Now, let me explain to you what I mean here. You have a business, but you are really in the business of understanding successful people and adopting the thinking, habits, and behavior of the most successful. That's what you're doing when you're selling luxury, when you're selling something that's high end. You're not learning the habits of people who are at the lower levels of their possibilities. Even someone who doesn't have high income, when they are thinking about buying into a product or service that's high end, or getting the right kind of outfit, the right kind of haircut, the right kind of persona, um, they're thinking high end. And if only for that moment, what we are understanding through this discussion is that you are understanding successful people in a bigger way, so that you can understand the path that that person has to go through to appreciate and take advantage of your products and services. Now, at the same time, you are understanding your own path and what you must do to take advantage of your own possibilities. I hope John doesn't mind me saying this, but he said something to me once that was really powerful. And he said, what I learned in working with you is what I could do if I committed to doing it. And what he was really talking about was paying a substantial fee for guidance, advice, support, and coaching. This is why I tell everyone, make sure, whatever you've got to do, that you subscribe to the Art of Grand, that you continue working in these coaching programs. It benefits me and Taylor Insight, no question about it. I'm not going to somehow retreat from that. But what it does for you is it changes your perception of who you are and what you can do. The minute you give money to a charity, public television, a ministry, or buy something that you didn't think you could do, it changes you and it moves you up a level. This is why when I was in my 20s, I would deliberately go to the most fashionable stores in New York and I would buy something that was out of reach. And I know some people would look at me and think, this cat is crazy. Why is he doing this? But the idea of buying that shirt that at the time might have been $50, which was a lot of money for a shirt, getting them to wrap it up, getting them, sometimes it might have even been a tie. They're wrapping it up, they're putting it in the bag. I'm walking out of the store with this beautiful bag from the store that I thought I couldn't buy anything from. It changes your whole perception of who you are. And if you begin to study the transformation that you make in that process, you will then begin to say, well, maybe I can do this, or maybe I can do this. It begins to expand your consciousness. When you study giants and socialize among giants, you will become one. And so you want to push yourself into that giant category any way you can. And it's a mind game. But once you do it, you'll begin to see that certain things are a lot more achievable to you. I remember as I started going through this process and expanding my consciousness, I began to feel that, hey, I could buy this, I could live here, I could wear this, I could try this business. I remember once being in an elevator in Atlanta, and I was going to meet someone up at the rooftop restaurant, and in this hotel, and I got into the hotel, and a couple got on one floor, and they said, "Does this go to the lobby?" And I said, "No, this is an express straight up to the rooftop restaurant." And they looked at each other like, "Oh, well, excuse me," and they ran off the elevator. Like, no, we're not trying to go there. Now, I was very different then, and as I am now, I would be, well, let's see what this is all about. Let me go up there and see what this experience is about. Whether or not I felt I could do it that day, I would want to experiment and see what is this about? What are they doing up there? So that's what we're doing here. We're trying to shift your understanding and appreciation so that you not only understand successful people, the thinking, the habits, and the behavior, but you adopt that so that you can attract more of them. And you begin to step away from what you used to do and start to define new things that you can and want to do. Now, I want to take you through a couple of things today just to share with you what this means in terms of looking at the levels of clients in your business and looking at where you may be to help you understand this transition, because this will help you stay focused and stay oriented in the right way. Let's talk about some of the levels of the clients and the process that you're going through. Level one, and I know this because I'm in the personal development business, which is a great advantage in understanding this, are opportunity seekers. These are what we call opportunity seekers. So these are people particularly in the personal development business, they want a better life. They want more money. And their question is, how do I get there? And they're typically working in a profession somewhere. Maybe they're working at Walmart. They're working driving a bus. Maybe they're even a policeman. Maybe they're working in a factory somewhere, or maybe they're a teacher. And they look at their life and they think, wow, there's more for me. and I'd like to find a way to have more. They know it's there, but they're not sure how to get there. And they usually think it's in the profession or the industry. Like if I could just get into this or that, that will be my ticket. They think it's like over there, like the grass is greener. And it's good that they are thinking beyond the norm. They're thinking beyond the idea of just being employed day to day. But usually they don't realize how much change is required. Now, when I say change, I'm talking about change inside of them is required. When they begin to work at something, they think, oh my God, this industry is hard. Oh my goodness, people don't appreciate what I do. They don't appreciate these products. They're not responsive. I used to think this too, even being an entrepreneur. See, the opportunity thinker does not realize that they are deeply steeped in the work for a living mindset. And so even when they're analyzing new opportunities, they're just transferring one way of working into another way of working when they're thinking. And they're not realizing that even in the midst of seeking opportunity, it's not the product, it's not the industry, it's the thinking, it's the behavior. You could sell anything and do it at a multi-million dollar level, whether it's peanuts, whether it's coffee, whether it's sandwiches, whatever it is, pizza. We've got billion-dollar companies that have been built on these things. What's the difference? They thought of it in a bigger way. They didn't just think of it as selling, one at a time, and they moved from opportunity thinker to something else. And that something else is level two. Level two is the business owner. Now, this is a very important level because the person understands that being in business is the path. And for most people, they don't think that. So just even getting to that stage is powerful. Most people think that it is if they had better luck, if they had a handout, if they had some better opportunity, not realizing that most of the people who make a lot of money are in business. They don't understand that. And so still they are toiling with this job. But here's the challenge with business owners. This can be a challenge with you, and so I want you to be aware of it. Usually, the way they've been taught to be in business is by doing the job. And so, what they're really doing is transferring the job mindset from working for the government or working for the city or wherever they do to the business. So it's not creating a job for yourself, which is what many business owners do. It's creating a self-sustaining enterprise where you could be in Monaco today and money's coming in. You could be wherever doing what you do because you have created something more than a task or a business that has your name on it. You see, you're limited until you see that it is by better ideas, it is by better marketing, it is by systems that you will succeed. And some of you are making this transition from business owner to the next level. Now, keep in mind here, in your business, you've got the same issue. You've got an opportunity seeker who thinks, wow, it'd be nice if I could look good for that graduation. They may not be fully committed to really looking that way or understanding why they look that way. Then they move to another level. That level might be getting someone to do it for them, or to say, okay, this goes with this. That, they're kind of at this other level. So keep in mind as I go through these levels that you might be there and your clients can be there too. I know my clients are there that way. Some of the folks who have come through the LLA program are opportunity seekers. They're like, wow, this sounds great. If I get into luxury, I could really do something interesting. Not realizing that they've got to shift their job mentality to a business owner mentality. Or they might be in business and thinking, wow, it would be great to expand your my business, not realizing that the LLA program teaches you how to create a system. So you've got to look at these ideas and say, oh wow, this marketing idea, I've got to like do this every week. I've got to turn this into a system that's actually working. And they might be intimidated by the idea that that initial work takes time to do. You might spend the first 6, 9 months figuring out, okay, I'm going to send this letter. I'm going to put this in this database. I'm going to send this the second time and so forth. Let's now talk about level 3. Now, level 3 is a very significant level because this is where it gets interesting. And these are entrepreneurs. Now, we often talk about entrepreneurs in a very broad way, and we use that term kind of loosely today. Many of the folks who we call entrepreneurs are not really entrepreneurs by maybe historical standards, because an entrepreneur understands that it's a thinking game. The entrepreneur understands that it is a risk game, that they're taking risk all the time. But they also understand that they, unlike the business owner, they have to be much more of a marketer. They have to be much more of a market builder. And they have to be more of a profit maker. Now, let me explain something. When you are an early entrepreneur making this shift from business owner to entrepreneur, you have to become a market builder. And this terrifies people because everyone's saying no. No one really wants what you have to offer. So you've got to knock on doors. You've got to call people up. You've got to be persuasive. You've got to find those people who will become part of your market. And that's why the early days, a lot of businesses that make that shift to become more entrepreneurial don't survive, because that's tedious work. That's going door to door. That's knocking on doors. That's getting people in the database. That's following up with them. That's trying offers. You see, this person realizes it is more than a job. It is creating an enterprise that is of value. And that enterprise must have a relationship with its clients. As I often say, it is not the data, it is not the industry, it is not the product, it is the relationship with the clients. We just saw that AOL and Yahoo are being, what do they call that? I guess sold by, I think Verizon now owns them. Well, Steve Case invented AOL. Steve Ross, who was with Time Warner, actually, I don't think it was Gerald Levin. Steve Ross had passed, but Gerald Levin, who ran Time Warner, merged with AOL. They became AOL Time Warner. Well, how is it that this big business, AOL, is now a shell of what it was? Well, how many people do you know today with an AOL email address. How many people do you know are dialing up on their computer and hearing, "You've got mail"? Not many, if any. The point is, at one stage, early in the internet, there was a relationship that AOL had with its subscribers. And that relationship has diminished as new companies and new technology has moved into the market. So the reality is they did not innovate and create a new relationship. And as a result, the business isn't as profitable as it once was, and it went away. So it's not the brand name, it's not the data, it's not any of that, it's the relationship. If you sell a business and you've got 500 people coming into that business every week who are paying, uh, no one cares what your logo looks like. That is a business where the relationships are of great value. So that's what entrepreneurship is about. And when you shift from one market business to the next, from business owner to entrepreneur, the idea of becoming a marketer, a market builder, and a profit maker is essential. On Wall Street, we used to call these market makers. These are people who do business in a particular instrument. And you know that you can come to them because they're buying and selling it all the time. Bernie Madoff was a criminal who ran a Ponzi scheme, but he also was a market maker. He had a legitimate business that bought and sold financial instruments, and other financial institutions did business with him because they knew he was a market maker in certain instruments. So that's what you're doing at level 3. And it's important that you not get discouraged at level 3 because this work is crucial. You're figuring it out. So, John, if you're carrying a book with, getting data, welcome to the club. I used to send people into the park, Central Park, uh, forget the other park name, in New York, and they would collect data from my sports company. And when they would come back, we would look at that and we'd say, "Oh wow, look at what this person said. Look at what that person said." They would go into the database, and then we would begin to market to them. When I started speaking, I would speak all kinds of places. You'd meet one or two people. They would wind up being a coaching client. They would wind up being in your audience somewhere. I've shown up places and I had forgotten I met someone, and that person would be in the audience and say, "I remember a few years ago, I met you at this school or this church or this place." That early work is crucial. Now, let's talk about level 4. Now, this is exciting, very exciting. And I'm telling you a secret here, but I want you to listen very carefully. In the Art of Grant every month, in the back, there is a column that I write called Luxury Mavericks. I haven't really talked a lot about that. But what Taylor Insight is about is really luxury mavericks. Now, I don't say that because I don't want to scare people away. Because some people will know right away, well, I'm not a maverick. But I want the folks on this call to listen to this carefully, because it is when you understand this mindset, you will understand what you must do, why you must stay engaged, why you must continue to study and keep coming back to the same stuff, why you must continue to take advantage of what I'm offering, and yes, subscribe to this, pay for this, do this, because that's what mavericks do. A maverick understands if they're going to take their enterprise to ultimate levels, their marketing is extreme. Their status is extreme. Their results are extreme. They see the stakes in their business differently than the average entrepreneur. These are the empire builders. These are the people who create industries, and you wonder, how is it possible that someone could make something so huge? They decide that they're going to do it differently than anyone else. The Elon Musk, the Pierre Cardin, the um, uh, uh, what is he? I forget the fellow's name. Dave, uh, Dashing Dan. Not what is his name? Forget his name now. The Dapper Dan. Excuse me. Up in Harlem. The Jay Z. The uh, Kim Kardashian, if you will. Uh, they realize that no matter how they're criticized, no matter how people may second guess, no matter how people might question their ability, they see something bigger than everybody else. And ultimately, people are going to look at them and say, wow, what a genius. Initially, they're not saying that. Initially, they're criticizing them. I heard that Elon Musk went over to Russia and wanted to learn how to build spacecraft, and he met with these scientists, and none of those people took him seriously, and they laughed at him, saying, "Okay, we're not going to share our secrets with you. You don't really know what you're doing. You don't know anything about this." And he admitted, "I don't know anything about this." And his venture, SpaceX, has failed, consistently, but it isn't failing anymore. Tesla failed constantly. It isn't failing anymore. So my point to you is that these individuals are mavericks because they look beyond just being the average entrepreneur. If there is an average entrepreneur, they see a level that is well beyond where everyone else sees. Now, I'm going to briefly talk about level 5. And although I have named this the Ultra Luxury Mastermind, level 5 is really playing a completely different game. And our goal is to get you to understand that completely different game. Now, if you are an opportunity seeker, it's hard to see that different game at level 5 because you're job oriented, you're 9 to 5 oriented, you're, oh my God, this is a lot of work. Oh my God, this is a lot of time. Oh my God, this is a lot of money oriented. But level 5 is about both creating and preserving wealth. It is beyond cash flow. It is beyond creating something that is unique, substantial, um, that generates income. It's about investing in others. It's about investing in wealth building, uh, your own and others. It is about philanthropic ventures. These people are thinking legacy, generation, impact, and continuation. Now, what we've gone through here, I hope you understand how significant what we've gone through is. Because when you understand these 4 levels, excuse me, 5 levels, you not only understand where you might be in the process and some of the qualities associated with this path, but you also understand the levels of your clients, and you'll begin to look at your business a little differently. You won't be so frustrated at the level 1s because you know they're behaving like level 1s. You won't be so frustrated at the level twos because you know they're behaving like level twos. When you get to level three, um, you begin to think, you know, maybe even level twos, you'll begin to think, I think this level two could be a level three. And I think this level three has the potential to be a level four. And and so you begin to work with people a little differently to see if they show signs. Now, sometimes a level two will confuse you because they're trying to get to that level three, but they're conflicted. They're they have money challenges, they have time challenges, they have environmental challenges, they have setbacks. But that person is going to keep at it. That person is going to keep buying the books, attending the seminars, investing, trying, because they know that there's something inside of them that will enable them to solidly be level three. And then you have level three, and these are people are very misleading because to many people in the world, it looks like that person is failing. Because I don't know any maverick who has not lost their shirt. I don't know any. So you will encounter someone who had a business that didn't work, who was ceremoniously removed from their business, who lost their money, who lost investors' money, who had major setbacks that took them several years to recover from. Oh, but the difference is this person, level three, once they begin to understand a little bit more about that level four thinking and behavior and rid themselves of that level three behavior, their success can and will be astronomical. They will make a shift and you will wonder, how did that person turn what looked like a mess into a masterpiece? How did they do that? And that's what we're looking at when we see the some of the richest people in the world. At some point, it looked like a mess. And at some point, the level ones were laughing and saying, ha, this person doesn't really get it. This person doesn't really understand it. You know, we're stable. We're safe. We're doing something that's dependable. I was listening to a conversation the other day, and I got a kick out of it as I was listening to it. There's a person talking about uh, getting a new job, and this person is probably close to 65, if not 65. And I've known this person a long time. Knew them when I worked on Wall Street, when I made the transition from my level one to level two, three, and beyond. And at 65, they're still thinking like an opportunity seeker. Now, that's okay if you're doing that and you don't aspire to these other things. But it's good to know that you are in that zone. Because you see, when you become level three and beyond, what you will find is that what's in your mind, what's on your computer, in addition to the relationships you've developed on your phone, are worth more than the complete assets of someone else. And it will take very little for that to become very obvious and for that to manifest. So I say all this to you today to make the point that we're moving, all of us, during these calls to become stronger and stronger level fives. But level 4 is the zone where you've got to get that maverick status. You've got to get there. And you must do what you must do to get to that status. When you get to that status, level 4, which remember is that luxury maverick, then you will be able to fully understand, appreciate, and capitalize on tailored insight style marketing. And it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. You will constantly recreate yourself in new and bigger ways. And the income, the cash flow, and the wealth will go with that. And you'll be able to buy and sell your business. You'll be able to partner in major ways and do interesting things. And you'll just operate at a completely different level. And ultimately, you will be level 5. Completely different game. Wealth, building, philanthropic ventures, legacy, generational wealth, impact, continuation. That's where it really gets exciting. So I know I've said a lot during this call, and some of you have kind of bounced in and out of the call. I'm going to summarize this, and I'm going to open it if you do want to say something. Some of you might be engaged in other matters, so I just continued. It's to summarize, you've got to challenge yourself to rise in focus. And when you do that, you will rise in your income and wealth. You have to look at your universe of clients and understand that there are few at the top. And frankly, there are few at the upper levels of what we've been talking about. But some want to be, and some will do what it takes. So some will become that person who can put together their own outfit incredibly and want to learn how to do that and want guidance on all those things. Some will become that business owner who says, I want to market myself in a way whereby I become an entrepreneur that has incredible status. And that's where they learn from you, Alvaro, to do that. And the challenge is that you have to always challenge yourself to make sure that you are moving on that path and that you're using your self-knowledge and experience to understand those who are also moving on that path. Always challenge yourself to do what it takes and to relearn your thinking, to relearn behavior based on the level that you want. All right, that's what I have to share. Let's see, on the call at the moment, we just have Marlene and John. So what I'm going to do is unmute the call, and it looks like maybe John will be just the person who will comment if he's able to. If not, we'll close the call, but we'll have the recording here that you can go back to and review these ideas.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I was just checking in. I, I, I had to take a payment in and it kicked me off the line. So then I had to jump back on. But I just been, I've been submerged in what I've been trying to do 14 and 16-hour days. So,
Hey, I understand. I understand. Did you
you
find
know,
these comment helpful today?
they are right on point, because I have made myself a worker of my own job too many years. So that's what I'm trying to grow out
Exactly.
of that
Yeah,
to different
exactly.
minds.
Well, you're at a great stage, man, because you know it and you want to get out of it, and you're working on it. So uh, that's why I said to you, look, stay on the calls, and we'll continue to work with you, and we'll help push you to new levels here.
Another thing I did this week, I kind of I'm making everything on my social media,
Uh-huh.
all congruent, for Tariq
Hmm.
for men, everything the same. So
Beautiful,
that's
beautiful.
yeah. So I
See,
should
you're
be
you're you're doing. This is a powerful lesson because the key is do what you can do.
and I even changed my LLC, so I'm just kind of trying to make everything,
Oh
you
man,
know,
you
you
get
know,
dangerous now,
sir.
man.
I mean,
Getting
I'm all the way
dangerous.
in.
That's beautiful to hear. So, well,
So,
congratulations on working through this.
but it's just been some long because I know I didn't lay down about 3:30 last night. So, I was,
Wow,
3:30 to 5:30. I've been up and down, up and down. So I just trying to make it happen.
wow. Well, I hope you weren't cutting hair that late.
Oh no, no, no! Everything I can to turn some dollars. I just been grinding. So
Okay.
whatever it takes. That's where I'm at right now. Failure is not an option right now, and I'm not gonna fail. So.
That's the mindset you need because you can come back. I tell you, I went through a stage. I remember in 2001 or two, right after the 9/11, and it was really rough. And it was hard to do business. I was speaking and doing various things, and I remember I had this sports marketing program that I had put together, which was on two CDs, and I had a bunch of them in a box. Man, I loaded those things into a car and I drove to every sporting goods store I could find,
Mm.
and came in there and said, "Hey, you need to. This is something you need." And I learned so much from that experience, but I said to myself, this is what it's about. You do what you can do.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's whatever it is. I'm not. Yeah, I don't believe in that failure thing. So I'm doing everything that I can physically think of and do. With myself to
Hmm.
push on through. So I, I ain't
That's
failed.
beautiful.
So I'm pushing.
That's beautiful. And when you can, keep, going back to this material because it'll keep you clear on where you're going. You
Absolutely.
know.
Well, I've been doing the stuff that I remember, and I remember you saying that. I said, you know what, I can do that. Let me do that in between what I'm doing. Let me get all this social media on the same page.
Hmm.
Get everything, sound and so when I start sending people places, it'll start popping up the same.
Hmm. Hmm. Excellent. Excellent, my friend. Well, great. I'm going to, continue to share ideas with you on what you can do, and I'm looking forward to bringing you up on stage during our conference to tell
Uh-oh.
people how you turn things around.
Well. When at that time, I'm gonna have. They say you got to have a testimony. You got to have a test. So I'm going through the test right now, so I can get the testimony.
I'm going to say, you all have heard about Tariq for Men, right? And they say, oh, yeah, we know all about
Yeah, yeah. So it's the test right now, preparing for the testimony because I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm still in the test.
it. Well, you're going to say, I believed in it. I focused on it. I did everything I could. And things turned around in such an incredible way that I'm grateful that I continue to have that faith and commitment.
Yeah, I get signs every day. It's turning. It's just every day, I see signs. Conversations with people. It's like it's there. It's just not there yet.
And that is the best indicator that it is about to come in a bigger way because you start to speak almost a different language and people are doing it with you.
Right.
And that is exciting because you're making a transition from one level of thinking to another.
Oh,
So
it's real. It's real, and I'm passing on some of this, So some of my sons, they at levels that I'm familiar with, but
mhm,
they haven't got to this one where I'm at. I said maybe I can speed them through it a little quicker when they get to this one, this level.
exactly.
Right.
One of our clients at Taylor Insight, this guy. he's got a salon here in New York. He's got 3 locations. He does these very high end clients, including celebrities, and he doesn't even know how to do hair.
Well, I
He
think
has,
you mentioned him, right?
yeah.
I get it. Another mentor of mine, Mr. Dudley's, he's from my hometown, so I've been
Hmm.
kind of following him around. He a juggernaut in the haircut industry.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
know
Oh
a
yeah. I remember.
thing. Don't know a thing about hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know a thing about. Never touched nobody head, but he a juggernaut in the industry. So.
He used to have these big hair shows too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
He
know.
still yeah, he have like a mastermind meeting every Sunday.
Hmm.
You know, I guess it's it's just kind of virtual right now, but he used to do it at
Hmm.
his house. And
Hmm.
I mean, he's still doing the whole kind of like you doing, you know.
Hmm.
He just kind of
I didn't know
leaning.
he. I didn't know he was from North Carolina.
Yeah, he from my hometown.
Well, interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I grew up following him around.
Yeah, I remember he had a big show here in. He's like from like the 70s, right?
Oh yeah, he started. He really blew up in the early '80s,
In
but
the early. Okay.
He been doing it since the mid '70s. Well, really earlier than that because he took over Fuller Products out of Chicago.
Right.
That was
Right.
his
Right.
mentor. Yeah.
Because I remember where I lived in Brooklyn, a store closed down and someone opened up Fuller Products and Fuller
Right, right,
Dudley they called it. It was called Fuller Dudley at
right,
the
right.
time.
Yeah, yeah. He
And
transitioned that.
I remember thinking, what is this that they're selling? And I went in there and it was all hair care stuff. And
Right.
then later, maybe about 5 years later, I heard about this big show they were having at the arena, the Felt Forum at the time they used to call it. It was like the smaller arena next to Madison Square Garden, but it held like I don't know, maybe 10, 15,000 people.
Oh yeah,
And
he was the maverick of the haircut industry.
oh
He
yeah.
changed it. He had a school. He taught his students in the school how to use his products. Then he
Hmm.
sh- trained them in salon. From using his products in salon, and he just grew his own little ecosystem.
Wow. And what happened to that? Is it, does he still own it? Is it?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's still he turned a couple of the product lines over to his daughters, and
I see.
they're not doing it nowhere near the level because they went to Yale and Harvard, so they disagree
Right.
with his
Right. Of
methods.
course.
But
Of course.
but is nowhere near the level that he done it at. But it's still operational.
Yeah. When you get these cats who build a business, and that's why I talk about the entrepreneurship versus particularly the people who come out of like these business schools, they bring this academic idea and sometimes they can add to the business, but there's nothing like the guy who's focused on eating, who figures it out.
Oh, he
You know?
did it. I know my father used to tell me he used to pick at Mr. Dudley coming to the barber shop with he had a little shiny suit on with his little
Hmm.
products, and he was like, "Man, what is this guy doing?" He said, "But look at him now."
Exactly. And that's exactly the path. And a lot of the kids from these companies, they're not able to continue it, but it's about that relationship, understanding how to sell, build these relationships, people build trust with you, and you keep doing that, you're going to build a big audience. So that's great. That's great to hear. That's really interesting. He was one of your mentors. That's
Oh
interesting.
yeah, yeah. We used to go to his house on Sunday morning and do a 7 hour read of Think and Grow Rich. He used to do that. He said
Wow.
that's how he used to get through his problem. He said something about when you read the book straight through it, you prick your subconscious, so and then you can figure out your problem. So pretty much 2 or 3 times a month, we'll do a straight read at his house on Sunday morning. You know, this
Wow.
was like back in the early '90s. We used to do that all the
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I'm going to steal that. Man. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah,
That's got to
he's
go.
like every problem. that he ever solved, that's how he solved it. He said after he finished, within 24 hours he'd be on the solution.
Man, you've been holding out on me. You didn't tell me this. This is a good one, man. I like this.
Yeah.
Wow. I
So
like that a lot.
what I do now is I listen to it
Mhm.
while I'm moving around because I ain't had time to sit down and read it straight through. But I
Mhm.
listen to it straight through,
Mhm.
and that's how I figured out a few things to make this situation happen.
You've got some background in Think and Grow Rich and these kinds of ideas as you built your business.
Yeah, that's how my concept. He used to teach us on the 100 customer method. You get 100
Mhm.
customers, you never be broke. That's
Mhm.
so a lot of that I've always practiced, but I wasn't thinking big enough. I wasn't marketing
Right.
big enough. So you
Right.
added that piece when I heard
Uh-huh.
what you were saying.
Very interesting. Now, has Dudley written books? Does he have books
Oh
out
yeah,
there?
yeah, he got autobiography. He got all kinds of books out. Like I say,
Very.
they still do a Zoom call once a week.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. I knew that he had some things out there, but I wasn't sure just where the business was at this stage.
Oh yeah, he's still his goal is just to make people wealthy. His
Mhm.
That's always been his goal. I think the last time I think he said he wanted to make 1 million millionaires.
Mhm.
That was his
Wow.
last goal I heard, but I don't know if he reached that, moved on to something else.
Wow. Interesting. How old would you say he is now?
I'm gonna say probably 70, late
Mhm.
70s
I
now,
see.
probably 77, 78.
Mhm.
But
Fascinating.
yeah, he had a stroke a few years back, but you can't tell that by listening to his voice and his energy.
Mm.
Still keep young people around him, still. A lot of stuff I do, I do it because I watched him do
Well, we're going to have to talk more about this because you just revealed that you got some interesting insights here, man.
it. All right, well, I
This is
mean,
beautiful.
his insight brought me to your insight. so, so that's why I know you was on point because it was just a piece that he didn't put in the language and add to what I needed because he gave me all the tools and the basics, but just the
Mhm.
whole marketing, the thinking bigger with what you're doing.
Right, right, exactly. Beautiful. All right, my friend, I'm going to let you get back to work, but you've given me a good sermon today. I gave you one, you gave me two.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, John, and your participation and your energy, and it's great to be working with you.
Yes, sir. It's
And
gonna. I'm itching. I'm just. I wake up every morning looking for the turnaround. So I
beautiful,
know it's gonna
beautiful.
turn. It's turning. It's just like a big ship. I can't feel it right now.
Well, it's I think you do feel it. It's just you don't feel every aspect of it, but you can see it's turning. So.
I can go with that. I can go with that. I believe that.
All right, my friend. I'm gonna
Yes, sir.
uh, I'm gonna close out the call and thanks again. We'll be in touch and we'll
Yes, sir.
talk about.
Yes, sir. I get it. Give me about 2 days. I got some grinding to do, and then I can slow down and I can tell you what I'm trying to do.
Okay, my friend. I'll
Yes, sir.
talk with you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone. I'll talk to you next time.
All
Have
right.
a good day. Bye.
All right.